I'm Michelle Hiray Talinhali, BA 3A. Today, I am going to discuss about one of some learning disabilities. But first, let us first define what is all about learning disabilities. What are learning disabilities? The term learning disabilities is used to describe a group of disorders that affect how someone learns. When you have a learning disability, you have difficulty in reading, writing, mathematics, listening, and or speaking. There is usually a large difference between what is expected based on your intelligence and your actual performance. Many people describe a learning disability based on what it is not. In other words, certain conditions must be ruled out before a learning disability can be diagnosed. A learning disability is not an intellectual disability. You must have an IQ over 85 to be diagnosed with a learning disability. Hearing loss, vision problems, a behavior or attention deficit disorder, or autism. Since many people learn to compensate for their learning differences as they mature, it can seem as if the learning disability has disappeared. It is for the reason that it was once that learning disabilities only impacted children. We know that learning disabilities continue throughout a person's life, even if they learn to compensate for the difficulty. And that is all about learning disabilities. There are also main types of learning disabilities. Main types of learning disabilities. The term learning disability encompasses many different learning differences. The three main types of learning disabilities are reading disabilities, written language disabilities, and math disabilities. Each type of learning disability can include several different disorders. There is not one learning disability. There are other less common learning disorders that impact memory, social skills, and executive functioning. So now, let us discuss the three main types of learning disabilities. First is reading disabilities. This is often referred to as dyslexia. Between 2 and 8% of school-aged children have a reading disability. Some of the common signs of a reading disability include difficulty associating or recognizing sounds that go with letters and separating the sounds within words, difficulty sounding out words, trouble rhyming, problems understanding and using words and grammar, and poor spelling. Second is writing disabilities. Writing disabilities called dysgraphia affect a person's ability to express their thoughts in writing. Some of the common signs include awkward or tight grip on a pencil, illegible handwriting, speaking the words out loud while writing, omitting words in the sentence, difficulty with grammar and syntax structure, avoidance of writing tasks, problems articulating thoughts and ideas into written words, and difficulty organizing and planning thoughts when writing. And the last one is mathematics disabilities. Dyscalculia is a broad term for many different types of disorders that involve problems with math. Some signs include slow to develop counting and math problem solving skills, difficulty recalling number sequences, computing problems, problems with time concepts, poor sense of direction, and difficulty completing mental math problems one day, but seem lost and confused when facing the same problems the next day. So that is the three main types of learning disabilities. So now we are going to discuss the main topic or the learning disability that I chose. So the learning disability that I chose is all about dysgraphia, which is under the writing disability. So first, we are going to define what is dysgraphia. Dysgraphia is a learning disability that affects an individual's facility with writing. Those with the disorder primarily have difficulty with what's known as the graphomotor task of writing, the physical production of writing, Such difficulties arise from disruptions to the brain's neural networks guiding fine motor coordination, and they can manifest as issues with letter formation, tracing, and sometimes drawing. Individuals with dysgraphia may also have trouble with spelling or writing structure, such as not understanding how to formulate a paragraph or with the mechanics of a longer story are. So now, let us move forward to the symptoms, characteristics, and diagnosis of a person with dysgraphia. Symptoms. According to the International Dyslexia Association San Diego branch, there are three subtypes of dysgraphia. First, one that overlaps with dyslexia and is mainly a spelling or writing disorder, but not a fine motor disorder. Second, one that is mainly related to motor control and tends to result in difficulty with a range of written and fine motor skill. Third, one that is mainly spatial and leads to the difficulty with writing and drawing tasks but not with spelling. Characteristics: limited written language even without time constraints and with previous instructions about the written task. Second, poorly formed letters or ones that are consistent in size, spacing, and distance from the line on which they are written. Third, difficulty organizing thoughts on paper and spoken language that significantly surpasses written abilities. Fourth, tendency to hold a writing instrument in an unusual way. Fifth, slow, incomplete, or laborious note-taking or copying practice. Sixth, complaints of hand or wrist pain after writing. 7. Avoidance of writing tasks. 8. Tendency to speak out loud while writing. Diagnosis. If you recognize characteristics of dysgraphia in your child, here are factors to consider as you seek out a diagnosis. Age of diagnosis. Dysgraphia is not typically diagnosed until a child is school age, while letter formation and other types of motoric dysgraphia can be diagnosed at the age of 5 or 6 years old. Some diagnostic tools, such as the Norm Reference Test of Written Language, are only appropriate for students 9 years of age or older since they will have had more experience with writing instruction and the complexities of written language. Here are some written examples of children with dysgraphia. There are also some recognition of positives of dysgraphia. Recognition of the positives of dysgraphia. Although dysgraphia introduces learning difficulties, this can be mitigated, and here are also positives to accompany the challenges, including the following. First, although they may experience frustration, children with dysgraphia do not typically experience social problems. Second, students with dysgraphia typically do not have other fine motor difficulties, so they can capably play instruments, tie shoes, and type. Third, assistive technology can help students with dysgraphia with everything from easing the motoric burden of writing to teaching writing mechanics. Fourth, recording devices, another type of assistive technology, are becoming increasingly popular and accessible. Tools like Evernote, Notability, and LiveScribe are particularly helpful for note-taking and recording. So now, let us talk about the treatment of learning disabilities. Treatment of learning disabilities. There is no medication or medical treatment to help improve a learning disability. However, Studies show that children with comorbid ADHD and learning disability see improvement in both when following a treatment plan that includes ADHD medication. In addition, educational strategies can be incorporated into your child's classroom or based on the level of disability. Your child might begin special education classes. And lastly, how can parents help their children with learning disabilities? How can parents help their child with dysgraphia? First, have your child use wide rolled paper, graph paper, or paper with raised lines to help with letter and word alignment. Second, try pencil grips or other writing aids for comfort. Third, let them use a computer to type instead of write and tech typing skills early. Fourth, don't criticize loopy work, praise their hard work, and offer positive reinforcement. Fifth, acknowledge the condition and talk to your child about it. Next, teach them ways to relieve stress before writing. For example, have them shake or rub their hands together quickly. And last, let them squeeze a stress ball to improve hand muscle strength and coordination. And this is all about dysgraphia. Thank you for watching.